Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to everyone who's joining us here in person. Wonderful to be here with all of you. Wonderful to be back. And, well, it's wonderful to see all of you. And it's also wonderful to have time to restore a soul. And that's really, really important. And for those of you who are here, those of you who are joining us online, I invite you turn around, see that camera, wave Shabbat Shalom to welcome everyone
Shabbat Shalom.
who is sharing with us in their own sacred mikdash, in their own sacred dwellings. So there's someone missing up here still. I know Rabbi Gimbel was very hopeful that we would all three be here back this week. Rabbi Kendra Bernstein is back. But we're taking it a little bit at a time. So we would just give you a little more wanting, a little more, as she'll join us hopefully in a few weeks. So I know she's watching. We say Shabbat Shalom and Refuah Shlema. Keep healing. She's doing great. And we're very excited about that. We're excited to have our boot campers that are here in week 1 of boot camp. And we'll hear a little bit more about their amazing journeys, a little into our service. Kate Chasen, who has been with us all summer, is going back for her sophomore year at the University of Richmond. She is going, this is her last Shabbat service before she leaves, and then we'll have her back. So she forced me for a lunch next week, so I have to pay, and I will, right? It's good. That's what you get when you're in college. You get a free lunch, so it's good. So we'll get to formally say goodbye to her next week, but we're so happy she's with us this evening. And of course, a little later in our service, many of you received a communication this morning, a very beautiful, wonderful communication about our wonderful Rabbi Gimbel, who will assume the cantorial position in our congregation as of July 1st in 2024, next year, as he will become Rabbi Cantor Gimbel, and we are very excited and blessed we are, and you'll hear a little bit more about that later. And also to note that we have Benot Mitzvah tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. I know tomorrow afternoon Gabrielle Seufer and her family are here, and they're going to light our Shabbat candles in a moment. But I want to acknowledge that just this past Wednesday was a Jewish holiday that you might not have been aware of called Tu B'Av. And what does that mean? The month of Av is part of our cycle, our calendar. And the two in Hebrew, the Taf and Vav add up to 15. So it's the 15th of Av. And it follows a very dark time, the 3 weeks of Av and Tisha B'Av, when we commemorate the destruction of the first and second temples and much more. But Tu B'Av is this incredible Jewish Valentine's Day that we call it. And it's in the Talmud, in our rabbinic tradition, it teaches us that in antiquity, this is when an unmarried woman would put on white dresses and go dance in the vineyards, and by the end of the night, they would have found a spouse. That was some of the traditional understanding. I'm getting a look from my wife. I already know where I'm going. Just watch me. Just trust me. So I struggle with this one, as I'm sure some of you do. The flowering of a new romance is always wonderful, hopeful, and sweet. But it's hard to face that sweetness sometimes because we know that relationships can be challenging, they can be messy, they can divide, they can end. And so the challenge of Tu B'Av, from my lens, is harnessing the emotional uplift of what we call for Tu B'Av to help us climb out of any emotional lows that we may be facing, even if there is no white dress in those vineyards, no simple happily ever after. And this is what long ago our sisters rejoiced that their years of deep alienation from God were over and that their story continued with new challenges to face and new lessons learned. I think we can all understand and appreciate that we're constantly ever in challenge and trying to find new ways through them and around them and to try to make new understanding and goodness out of them. And so Tu B'Av is all of that and more. There is no Hallmark stamp on it. You will not find it in a store. But trust me, if we hold on to the essence and the meaning, tonight we celebrate the symbolism of what it means to fall in love with our tradition, with our prayerful moments, with our music, and with one another. And so we are delighted to have Gabrielle and her family join us up here in the front to kindle our Shabbat candles. I invite you to join us as we bring that Shabbat light in.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
If there are any youth or teen choir members who are here, we invite you to come up as we begin Kabbalat Shabbat, the receiving of Shabbat, to nourish our souls a little bit before we come into formal prayer. We begin this evening hurrying.
Join us, whoa, whoa.
glory of every new day. All that breathes praises thee, who created me.
Page 343 in your prayer books. Page 20.
לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה. לא שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושבת.
As we have greeted the Sabbath bride, we've welcomed the Sabbath light. Turn to someone next to you, wish them Shabbat Shalom, and if you don't know them, introduce yourself. We turn towards our ark as we call each other to prayer with Baruch Hu, page 146. Responsively, Ma'ariv Aravim, page 147. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom.
Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures.
Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you, and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Aravi.
Ahavat olam Beit Israel Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 You may be seated as we invite Gabrielle up to lead us in Ve'ahavta on page 150.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וקשרתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We invite our B'nai Mitzvah Boot Camp students up to help lead us in Michamocha, page 152. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la.
Shabbat,
rise together, page 155, as we begin our Amidah together. We will continue our Amidah after we pray our opening line together. We will continue individually and silently using the words of the prayer book or the words of our hearts.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי
As we turn to page 253 and we prepare for our prayer of healing, we are especially mindful of those within our community who are in need of refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf, the healing of the soul, the healing of the body. We're mindful of Ari Zalman Leib, Ben Shoshana Moshe, Lauren Berman, Ali Campbell-Foman, Ben Scheib, Warren Dean, Caleb Dressen, Alec Fertel, Marcia Fram, Larry Freinson, Denise Garrick, Stephen Goldstein, Anita Hosenpud, Hector Islas, Ruth Jordan, Richard Kitson, Betty Kornreich, David Kroll, Marshall J. Lewis, Mike Lynn, Isaac Lipton, Jim McIndoe, Lisa Nelson, Sharon Resnick, Ruvain Ben Tzvia Vyakov, Sharon Ritter, Jay Rosenberg, Galina Rybolchenko, Rosa Santiago, Jenny Schnitzer, Rhonda Schwartz, Bernice Sicklick, Christopher Smith, Seth Streichler, Lynn Slotkin, John Clayton Urey, Kathy Weil, Eric Winston, Alan J. Wolf, Sandy Wood, Yaakov Yosef Ben Zohara, and Susan Zale. Perhaps there's a name on your heart that you would like to add to our prayers for healing. I invite you to share those names as our eyes meet, and if more than one name is offered at the same time, that is okay.
Terry Miller and Ian Brisky.
We join together, page 253, in our prayer for healing.
Shabbat Shalom. I have a question for you. Have any of you ever had someone that needed your support? By show of hand, anyone that needed your support? Now I'm going to ask you another question. Has anyone ever had someone that needed your support and was filled with gratitude before that support became available? Very, very abundantly so. Anybody? Less hands, but I see some. And then when the action or the request has been granted or you've helped, it ends at that moment. Ever have that before? Well, I see a fewer hands there because I'm thinking of my children. And I have a senior in high school. Some of the B'nai Mitzvah boot camp met him today. And he's applying to colleges, and I started reflecting while I was away on all of the things that were leading up to this time. and all of the requests that were coming our way for years and years, the past 17 years. The requests, the asks, the wants, the please, can you help me with this? And the actions, most of the time, were granted. And then it kind of ends at that moment. Gratitude after, sometimes by request, sometimes by demand, sometimes it just ceases. And I started to think about the ways in which we relate to people in the world, and I started thinking about this portion and how it's ever reflective of this week's portion, and I'll tell you why. Because in this week's portion, in our journey of Torah, the children of Israel are still standing on the waters of the side of the Jordan. They're waiting to cross over in order to enter into the promised land. Moses is still getting them ready, and God is now painting a beautiful picture for what lies ahead of them once they finish that journey. A few paragraphs into the description, there is a divine utterance. And I quote, that wasn't it, but I quote, "Beware lest you forget your Adonai, your God, and say to yourself, my own strength and the might of my own hand has gotten me all of this wealth." God reminds the people that God brought them out of Egypt, that God clothed them, that God fed them. In essence, perhaps a semi-dysfunctional way of keeping God's self in relationship with the people, reminding them that in truth, it's all about God. The Torah portion begins with how awesome, how amazing it will be once the Israelites cross that Jordan River. An idyllic outlook. The livestock will be fertile, and the land will indeed be flowing with chalav udavash, with milk and honey. And as the Israelites stand on the shores of the Jordan, they are waiting there. Their heartstrings are pulled and called toward this idyllic place. Yet, if we read the verses more carefully, it's clear that the text that God gets a little nervous is what's going to happen when the Israelites get into the promised land. That they might start to think that they've gotten there all by themselves, on their own. After all, they will have built the houses and they will have planted the fields. And if you read into the text, you can see God actually wondering, might their own security lead the Israelites to forget how God cared for them these past 40 years, 17 years, 40 years, one or the other? So the text offers a concept that we, the Israelite nations and those that would follow, might be able to wrap their heads around. And here's the charge in the text. Ve'achalta, ve'savata, uverachta et Adonai Elohecha. And what does that mean? It means this verse is part of the language of the blessing that we say after the meal in the Birkat Hamazon, the blessings that come after. And it means the following. Ve'achalta, and you shall eat. Ve'savata, and you shall be nourished or satisfied. Uverachta et Adonai Elohecha, and you shall bless Adonai your God. Eating a meal is a time when it is fairly easy to forget to be grateful for what we have and to give thanks after it has occurred. When we're hungry, we have more awareness of our fragility. But after the meal, when we're satiated, we tend to be full. We tend to get tired and are more likely to lose touch with our gratitude. The rabbis see intrinsic wisdom in the Torah's teaching. There's something incredibly valuable in sharing our gratitude even when we're feeling full, even when we're feeling satiated, and not just when we're vulnerable. The Jewish value of hakarat hatov, or the recognition of good, to see the good in our lives, to see it and call it out, is paramount. Jewish Musar teacher Alan Moranis explains that the following. It is true that even if we are aware of our gifts, we tend to grow callous to those fine things that pepper our lives, so that after a while, we no longer even see that they are there. We come to take the good for granted. And we are challenged to recognize that the sole trait of gratitude holds the key to opening the heart. So, how apropos that this wonderful reminder is afforded to us on this Shabbat. That even in moments when we might already be full and nourished with what we experience, that we can still reflect on and honor the good around us. On this Shabbat in particular, the good that I'm thinking of is my wonderful colleague, my clergy partner and friend, Rabbi Jeremy, soon to be cantor, Gimbel. Many of us come here or tune in each week to feel a sense of community, to recall loved ones, to welcome Shabbat, to be inspired by the messages of Torah, to be uplifted by the power of prayer, to have the voices and music stir our souls so that we may carry them beyond our time here. And yes, so many of us here feel satiated and blessed as we take leave of this sacred space. Yet as we're reminded this week, we must never become complacent and always be mindful of the things and the people who and which pepper our lives. In this moment, on this day, our congregation has recognized the blessings that Rabbi Gimbel has and continues to offer us, as he follows in the footsteps of his mentor and fellow clergy partner, Rabbi Cantor Arlene Bernstein, and will officially become cantor of this congregation next July. Thank you, Rabbi Gimbel, for being a talented singer, a gifted composer, an outstanding musician. Thank you for being someone who embraces collaboration and who has been an invaluable member of our clergy team. Thank you for bringing your humor and your joy, albeit not your bad jokes, to so many of us. Thank you for inspiring those in our community to elevate their love and their Jewish learning. Thank you for being a mensch. Ekev, which is the title of this week's portion, which means as a result of. As a result of the gifts he has already shown us, today we acknowledge the formal transition into a new chapter in the life of our clergy leadership. How blessed are we that a child of this congregation was nurtured to cultivate a love of Judaism, that this love would evolve into a life committed to the Jewish people, that his love of music would lead to his sharing a soulfulness of prayerful moments and opportunities that we can all experience and share in together. V'achalnu, and we shall eat. V'savanu, and we shall be satiated. Uvarachnu, and we shall be blessed. By you, Rabbi Gimbel, and you continue to guide us musically, spiritually, and joyously. May this be God's will, as we say. Amen.
Simen tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and simen tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and simen tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and simen tov. Simen tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and simen tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and simen tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and simen tov.
Mazel tov. this time I'd like to call upon one of the members of our board, Allison Prager, to share some announcements.
I turned to Kim and I said, do we call him CR now? And she said, RC2C. Your joke worked, Kim. So Shabbat Shalom and good evening, everybody. Welcome to our beautiful outdoor service tonight. What a lovely night. As always, we want to thank the Men's Club and the Women of Beth Israel for ushering this evening. Also like to congratulate Gabriella Seufer on her bat mitzvah tomorrow at 4 p.m. Congratulations to her parents, Jennifer and Harris, and to her brother, Max. We've got a lot of upcoming events that I would like to mention this evening. Tomorrow, Torah study at 9 a.m. in the Activity Center, led by Rabbi Gimbel, followed by our weekly Shabbat Minyan service at 10:30 in the chapel. 2, Jewish Nationalism in the Age of Liberal Democracy, Sunday, August 6th, 10 to 11. The lecture highlights the conceptual differences between constitutional foundations of Israel and the U.S. and delves into a different understanding of the state's purpose and the meaning of nationalism, citizenship with the context of these two democracies. Want something a little lighter? So, Musar for Alil, what again? Elul. You know, when I practiced, I had it, but then you come up here, it doesn't come out. That's Tuesday, August 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Also, if you are interested, we have a Dominican Republic Service Learning Trip Informational Meeting. That is Thursday, August 31st from 6 to 7. Join us for an informational session about the 2024 Service Learning Trip to the Dominican Republic. Beth Israel, in conjunction with the First United Methodist Church, have partnered with Bridges to Community for this upcoming February 2024 expedition. If you're interested in that and interested in any other of our many programming, please visit our website, cbisd.org. Thank you and Shabbat Shalom.
Great.
Throughout this week, our participants in B'nai Mitzvah Boot Camp, that's you, have been exploring incredible ways of learning about their Jewish identities, learning about ways of giving back, but you don't want to hear it from me. It would be so much better if you heard it from them. So let's hear it from them.
Shabbat Shalom CBI. We are the campers of this week's B'nai Mitzvah Boot Camp, made up of rising 6th and 7th graders getting ready for our Bar or B'nai Mitzvah. Led by Jessica with the assistance of the Madrahim, this week has been all about doing community service, getting advice from rabbis and staff, and learning what it means to be a Jewish adult.
In this B'nai Mitzvah camp, we did a lot of community service. I also learned that you can accomplish way more than you think, and anything you do helps.
We're here at Torah's Closet, which is an emergency clothing service for people that need clothes when they don't have them. And today we sorted donations from jewelry and made tents.
Path San Diego's whole idea is to help people who don't have homes. People can stay there for as long as they want. When we were at Path San Diego, we packed over 70 lunches for people in need. And we got a tour of Path San Diego and saw how great they are.
We are currently at Coastal Roots Farm. We are weeding the area and harvesting some green tomatoes. Coastal Roots is a great organization. They have kids camps and they have a farm stand that they have open every Thursday and Sunday.
So, we're at the San Diego Humane Society, and currently we're shoveling dog food into bags to give out to people who can't afford it.
I've learned so much from this experience, giving attention to baby kittens, feeding hungry guinea pigs and rabbits, and packaging dog food for those who need it. I believe that this experience was very important for me as I become my bar mitzvah, and I will definitely be returning for my mitzvah product.
When I heard
when Rabbi Gimbel said we were going up to the bima, I saw a lot of faces go pale. Everyone was terrified. We walked slowly to the sanctuary and we sat quietly, one by one. Soon enough, we were all talking about how much fun we had and how we wanted to go again. We all learned that the bima isn't that scary and it can be quite fun.
What we did for the lesson on Hesed, Tzedakah, and Tzedek was talking about how one cannot exist without the others. We learned that people volunteering is impossible without people giving. This taught us that every form of helping is needed.
During the friendship activity, we learned about how friends can change the path of our lives. We made timelines with big events and wrote letters that we sent to our friends. This activity showed us the importance of how friends are and how they affect our lives.
On Tuesday, we met with Rabbi Gimel to talk about service leading. To teach us about service leading, we learned the Torah. This taught us how to do service leadings and lead by example.
On Wednesday, we did the body, mind, and soul activity in the church because we can have understanding of what is stressing us out and how we can calm down.
This week, we explored and compared how differently people can pray. Prayer means something different to everyone. Prayer can be holding someone's hand, being there for someone who is sick, being out there in nature, and many more.
We learned a small bit of how to chant Torah, and it really matters because it puts the flavor in Torah, and it's important to carry on the tradition of chanting Torah.
The very first letter of the Torah is Bet, which, believe it or not, means lots of things by itself, too. It can represent that God is all around us, or it could represent not to look in the past, but look forwards, towards the future. And there are so many different letters in the Torah, which means there are endless things to write your Torah on.
We met with Rabbi Navarez and talked about our Jewish journey. To help us understand, he gave us each an Oreo and asked us where did it come from. After a conversation about where it came from, we thought about our journeys and we made a timeline to mark all the important parts of our lives. To end the program, we wrote thank you notes to the people in our lives that we appreciated.
For our last community project, we made dozens of lasagnas for Beth Israel's caring community. These are going to be given to people who are currently sick, who've just had babies, and who are grieving the loss of someone they love.
To get ready for tonight, Rabbi Gimbel worked with us to sing in front of everyone. To me, this is my first time ever leading people in prayer. I'm so proud to be a part of this community because I'm allowed to participate in leading the service.
We all had a great week together and we learned so much. I can't believe the week is over. This week was full of fun activities. We went so many places and learned about ourselves and each other. Thank you for celebrating Shabbat with us and for giving us the chance to share our experiences with you.
I want to thank Jessica Kretzer, who holds this entire program from start to finish. All of it is her vision. To our madrachim, to Raphael, to Rose, to our team, our magnificent school team. They just do an incredible job, and our students walk away and are the beneficiaries of such a gift, so thank you. We begin concluding our service, page 282. As we join together for the Aleinu, I invite you to please rise if you are able.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
melech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Will you please be seated as we take a few moments to turn to those we've loved and lost, those who continue to live on in our hearts, in our memories. As I share the names of those we're thinking of in our community, if you're related to them or you're thinking of them, I invite you to rise in your place when you hear their name called so that we can hold you collectively in our hearts as well. In this period of Shiva, we're thinking of Francis Dukoff, Christy Ziki, Wendy Bratt, and Elliot Jonas Bergman. In the Shloshim, these 30 days from burial, we think of Jean Blonder-Snitz, Michael Ziegler, Edith Lang, Michael S. Goodman, Lois Richmond, Natalie Wallen, Ina Rosenthal-Ori, and Elliot Joel Epner. And our congregation recalls those who have passed this season in years past. Louise Ablon, Lena Adelson, Nicholas Agostino, Theodore Bumritter, Marla Bennett, Pauline Barassi, Betty Bilk, Bertram Blair, Molly Bliss, David Borak, Miriam Mann Breslauer, Philip Brogadier, Wendy Button, Kenneth Butler, Fanny Charno, Edward Cohen, Helen Copen, Herman DeVries, Saul Deitel, Renee Dora, Gloria Efron, Betty Elprin, Hyman Elprin, Israel Ferzig, Nina Fields, Willard Finberg, William Phoebe, Alexander Fortel, Pauline Foster, Aaron Freeman, Margaret Goldbaum, Harvey Goldberg, Edith Goldberg, Bernice Goldfarb, Arlene Gopin, Sam Guzik, Minnie Harris, William Hartz, Sam Huberman, Alma Hutkin, Marion Eisenberg, Howard Jacobs, Robin Edward Kemp, Arthur Klein, Joanne Marsh Klein, Ida Kodmer, Gladys Chrisberg, Hannah Kroll, Morris Kuttner, Ruth Landau, Bertha Lerner, Minnie Lesson, Julius Levin, Ethel Levinson, Shari Lewis, Jane Lipinski, Melvin Lubau, Joanne Lyons, Marlis Marianne, Irving L. Miller, Bella Mont, Bruce Morisak, Susan Moser, Hillary Masser, Erwin Nevergelt, Elaine Springer, Sarah Paul, Patricia Perlman, Larry Pollack, Bertha Rassin, Molly Ratner, Joshua Ridoff, David Robinson, Elsie Rosenberg, Seymour J. Rosenberg, Maya Rosenberg, Charlotte Rubin, Fanny Samuels, Bernard Schwartz, Louis Shafton, Jean Shapiro, Mara Shapiro, Yehudit Sherman, Dora Zuckerman, Miriam Simon, Kaylin Elizabeth Sipperstein, Bernard Skomer, Robbie Slaughter, Raymond Sakin, Rose Soloway, George Spieler, May Spira, Rosalie Stein, Rose Stein, Amy Stein, Yehudit A. Sherman Velasquez, Maurice Weinberger, Eva Weinstock, Max Wender, Cynthia Wexler, Beatrice Weiner, Rabbi Alfred Wolf, and Michael Zablo. If there was a name that you would like that wasn't on our list but you'd like to share, I invite you to rise at this time, and we call upon you. As I invite everyone to join with those who are thinking of loved ones as we turn to 294, recite the Kaddish tome. Yitzgadal v'yitzgadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'yizman kariv ve'imru amen, yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kodisha b'richu la'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'ama v'yimru amen yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen oseh shalom b'mramav uyaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael V'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories ever continue to inspire and be for blessing as we say together, amen. I invite you to put your prayer books down, perhaps place your arm around those around you as we conclude this evening with hope and prayer of peace, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom
behind you, in front of you, say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So we join together for the Motzi.
Shabbat Shalom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.